to Wisdom to Wealth, episode number 7. I'm really excited to bring this episode to you today because we have not only myself, Whitney Hammond, but we have Teresa Pellizzari, Financial Security Advisor with Sovereign Wealth Management, and Brittany Hammond, all the way from Paris, France, owner of Untamed Revolution. Hello. So Wisdom to Wealth is a show we created that is about your money. It's about you taking control of your finance versus your finances taking control of you. So whether you're new to investing or you've been investing for many years, whether you have a financial advisor or you don't and you're doing it by yourself, or you're looking for one, there's all sorts of tips and ideas here. So today we're going to continue our discussion about archetypes. Brittany brought this to our attention this week, and so we researched it, and she is going to summarize what you may have missed on Wednesday. Take it away.
Yes, so on Wednesday, they talked about 5 of the 9 money archetypes. So the first one is the martyr. And this type of personality is always taking care of other people and neglecting their own needs. They may be rescuing others financially, kids, spouse, friends, partner. Basically, the unconscious attachment is to suffering financially. The next type of archetype was the victim. And this type of personality, I shouldn't say it's a personality, but habits, blames their financial situation on exterior factors. So that could be bad investments, dealt the wrong hand in life, penalties, broken agreements, like everything just is someone else's fault but their own, and that leaves them disempowered. The next one is the innocent, and this person just doesn't really take full responsibility. They don't want to look at their accounts. They're kind of in denial. They feel overwhelmed by advice and opinions to others. So they just stay innocent. They just don't want to know. This is very similar to the avoidant princess, except she has a little bit of an attitude adjustment because she's actually blissfully unaware. So she doesn't even want to know. There's a little bit of entitlement, maybe thinks that things will just figure themselves out or maybe taken care of by someone else. She doesn't take the responsibility to look at her account. She avoids her finances. She might be spending frivolously and just not tracking it and kind of expects things to just be handed to her. And the 5th archetype talked about on Wednesday is the squirrel. And this personality works really, really hard. They make money, but they put it all aside and they just work and save, and they feel like they never have enough money. So the 6th archetype is
the fool. So the fool is a gambler by nature and always is looking for a windfall to help take financial shortcuts. And we all know no one wants to be a fool. It sort of happens by accident, I guess, and we fall into a bit of a trap, taking chances and tricking ourselves. So just quickly, about 10 years ago, I decided I wanted to pay off my mortgage aggressively and I wanted to increase my RSP contributions. So I was reducing debt, increasing my assets, and that I told myself, okay, good, now I can go back and live my busy life. I've got a good foundation in place. And the piece that I missed was that I didn't have any idea of what kind of cash flow was coming and going out my door. So every year, I would have to take that extra money that I put away and pay back my credit cards. So I was fooled. If it happens to you, try to catch it quickly and squash that plan because it's a bit of a paradigm that is false. So I'll send it back over to Whitney.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you figured that out. So the next archetype is the saboteur. And there's a saboteur in a lot of us, whether it has to do with finance or other parts of our life. And it's a shame-based personality. Because many of us, not that it's anybody's fault, but many of us were raised with a lot of shame, and we still carry that in our mind. So what happens is it's the brain's automatic mental habits and limiting beliefs. So I can't have that, I can't do that, procrastination, overspending, blowing your credit, not just sabotaging any opportunity you have in your life to get ahead. And this can be changed, this can be fixed. So first of all, I have a methodology here. You just have to understand. So when you hear me speak, do you have this trait? Are you sabotaging yourself? So understand that and recognize your own sabotaging habits. That's second. The third one is to identify the root cause. So whether you can find that out yourself or talk to somebody who's very close to you, who will be honest and mirror back to you to say, hey, this is what you're doing. And then change a pattern in your behavior. So start with one. And one that works really well is if you just start putting a little bit of money away every single month and you don't touch it, and you start to build this nest egg, you'll see that things will start changing. And it does work. So over to Brittany.
All right, so this is fitting. This is the Slave Girl, and shameless plug for my latest podcast episode about the 5 ways that we self-betray. The Slave Girl actually can fall into that category. So this is a type of personality that works relentlessly. They're always working, maybe multiple jobs, maybe overworking to the bone in their business. Have you ever met someone and you wondered, they're always working, but then they're always saying they don't have enough money? Where does this come from? So
our parents.
Two things that can contribute to this. And the first one is either they're not managing their time right or they're not managing their money. But because they're in this slave mentality, they're actually addicted to the overworking, and there's a little bit of an entitlement attitude. I'll share a really, really quick anecdote. When I was doing my master's degree, I was always working, but I wasn't necessarily being paid. And when I transitioned into starting my business, I carried that mentality where I was always working in my business, but I wasn't necessarily making money, especially not in the beginning. And I learned just to keep working all the time, but I wasn't charging accordingly. Business owners charge accordingly. And then I had to learn how to manage my time. So, Slave Girl.
That's great, Brittany. And you know what? That is important. Charge what you are worth. And we've had that discussion many times. So the last one we're going to talk about is the sugar baby. So it's not really a nice term because we hear the term sugar daddy. My grandmother taught me that one. And the sugar baby is somebody who has a higher standard of living, and so they're being taken care of by somebody else instead of them taking care of themselves directly. So it's not really a sustainable way of living, but it is an old message that goes back in many of the minds of females of being taken care of. And there's nothing wrong with being taken care of. Absolutely, that's fine. And I mean, that's a feminine trait. But the sugar baby definition is not really the one that you would want to live for decades, especially if you end up on your own one day and then you don't really know how to make ends meet. So that ends our talk about the I can never say the word. The archetypes. It's all new to me because I always knew that there was a psychological money thing within all of us. I just didn't know that this word from theater could actually be applied to it. So it's really great to be able to identify which one of them that you are, and actually to work with an advisor who understands these and can help you. So even though for me, I didn't have the name, and Teresa, you may feel the same way, and Britt, you might feel the same way, but I recognize all these different behaviors, and I know how to get people from here to here. So there is light in the end of the tunnel, and thank you everybody for joining us today, and we'll see you Wednesday next week, next Wednesday, next Friday. Oh, and Wallet to Wealth, yes, put that back up. We have launched our ticket app. We are going ahead with that November the 12th, 2020. We'll see you then.